back in the Lost Valley. It's a really intriguing spot and just a great place to come out. Even if you don't find anything, it's just beautiful country to be in. So we're going to spend a few days in here, exploring up and down these ridge lines and along the gullies, looking for little camp areas and bricks and old remnants of ceramic scatters and bottles and things where these early pioneers would have stayed in this forest. And from what we can understand it from our research, they were all gone by the 1890s. There was no one here then. So it was a transient sort of thing from the early 50s into the late 80s, pretty much. So anyway, welcome to our video. Thanks for watching. We'll be back shortly with our first relic.
Okay, we've been picking up lots of the roofing washers, but now, just down here, is a little button, shirt button. Doesn't really look like there's any make on it, but oh, hang on, well, it could be. We'll clean it up and see how that goes. Okay, this is a nice little find. It's a coin. Not sure how well it'll clean up, but I think it's just a Britannia halfpenny. Wasn't very high, 66. So we'll see if it cleans up. Well,
Colin just got an old halfpenny up there behind me, and I've just got this beautiful old 4-hole button. Like the one I got earlier this morning, no branding. I think they predate the kind of branding period. That's just my theory, but none of the buttons here of any maker's name. They're all just plain ones. Oh, here's my hole. It's a full. I'm just about 12 inches down. It's beyond. It was beyond pinpoint range from the surface. Look at this lovely brass buckle. Not sure if it's human or horse. Brass with a little. Oh, it's all brass. I thought that was a steel pin, but it's not. It's quite nice actually. It'll clean up nicely. Ripper. Well, it's late afternoon now. We're sort of heading back over the hill. Got about a kilometre hike, not far, back to camp. Have a bit of dinner tonight and light a fire. Got this smashing 75. I was pretty confident this was going to be a coin. And it is. Light's not perfect there for you to see that, but we've got a penny. Look at that. It'll be an old Britannia. We'll give it a quick bush clean now. We'll get a date before we lose the light. Looks to be in pretty good nick too. Nice. Okay, I've just cleaned that with the water bottle, that penny. Good nick. 1877, I'm pretty sure. The date changed a few times as I cleaned it, but I'm pretty sure it's 1877. I'll give it a proper clean at home. We'll take some still shots.
Another little find, a little bit scratchy, but another button. Okay, another couple of finds from the same hole. Another button and a little tiny button as well. A cuff button, or I'd say, yeah, or a collar button. Okay, so this is my first find for today. And it's another button, a 4-hole button.
Well, here's my first find of the morning, and day 2. It's this copper jacket, large calibre round, nearly half an inch. That I'll measure it and get a calibre. Obviously, 19th century. Ross got one identical to that yesterday, just down the valley behind me. I've come across a few ridge lines into this beautiful, picturesque little valley, where we got a few relics last time, so we're going to explore around here this morning. Here's my next recovery. Colin just got a button, and so did I. These 4-hole plain flat buttons. So there's quite a lot of iron in the ground here too, so bit of habitation's gone on for a while, dropping buttons and lots of iron. Okay, here's my next recovery. It was a solid 75 amongst the iron. I was pretty confident it was going to be a penny when I got that indication. There she is. She'll be a beautiful old Britannia. Be in very good condition. A little bit grimy, that's all. You can see the soil. I think there's been a fire here, campfire, because the soil's discoloured. You find that up at that old hotel site there was a bit of discoloration. I'll give this a quick clean and see if we can get a date. Right, well there she is. It's a beautiful 1875 Britannia penny. In great nick too. A little bit grimy, but that'll clean up beautifully with a bit of soapy water in the gold pan when I get back to camp. Nice recovery. We've only been really detecting. We hiked in, it took us 50 minutes probably to hike in. Detecting for 10 minutes. We've got a few buttons and a coin already.
Still looking in the same area, but up the ridge a little. And I've come across this huge horseshoe. It looks like it could be off a draft horse or something. It's so big. Very, very heavy. And it's still got some of the tacks in it as well. It's in really good condition considering its age. Okay, this is where wild pigs have been. They've dug up the soil with their snouts looking for grubs and roots and things. But they certainly make a mess. They certainly make a mess of the soil. Okay, this is my next find. It's a badge. It's got something on the back, a bit of a clasp or something. The back looks like it's pretty good, but the front's got a lot of rubbish on it. So I'll give it a clean and come back. So we've given it a bit of a clean up, and it's actually a buckle. It's nice brass on the outside, and it's got a steel tongue. Very heavy. Very solid up. It's probably still clean it up a bit more, but at least we know what it is now. It's got the shield shape at the top. So we'll see if we can get it looking any better than that.
Well, we've just come in the valley up. That's uphill there, up the valley. Just come in the side valley into the big valley, the Lost Valley, where I got that penny up there 20 minutes ago. Yeah, just got a lovely find here. Next to this water hole is the musket ball. It's been shot and it's hit something pretty hard. It's a lovely 68 repeatable. Love these historical old weapon finds, that's awesome. This is an interesting find on this ridgeline. I've popped up out of the little waterhole gully where I got that musket ball. Have a look at this clock cog. Someone's been camping up here. There's been a house. It's in great nick too, look at that. I like it. Well, this was a curious run of artefacts up this little hill here. I've got clock part, a harmonica reed, which I didn't show you, and this little stirrup. It's not only a small stirrup, might be a child's or a lady's stirrup.
Solid 76.
Geez, Ross has got a nice sound up there. It sounds like a penny coming up, Ross.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I've got this beautiful old bit to go with that stirrup. Look at the handmade ends, and it's just a complete. It's a ripper. Nice bit of horse history.
Not far away from the buckle, I've got another button. So this one looks a little bit thicker, so it might be a different brand perhaps. We were over having morning tea when we heard a bit of a sound like a shotgun, and then there was a big boom, and Ross happened to see this tree fall. So there it is. It's an old dead tree. Quite a big tree. And there's the rest of it over there. Yeah, that's a bit scary if you're walking through. Because just about 10 minutes earlier we were just walking through here anyway, just to go down and get some morning tea. So always have to try and be careful, but that sort of thing, you're not going to really hear it coming. I've just found another button, probably about 10 metres from the last one, but it's good to find the buttons because you know that someone's been in the area, so there's always potential of finding some other items, personal items or equipment items, anything they've been using.
I was sitting there for a bit of a breather before lunch. we're just going to we'll set up a bit of a base camp up a creek line this time. We're going to go and have some sandwiches and a bit of water in a minute. We really haven't, this is our 4th day in here I think overall, determined the purpose of this settlement. What we think we may have found is an old post office where I got that Gothic florin yesterday. There was an old post office documented in this area, and there are little fire rings and little scattered settlements, or individual buildings there would have been. Could have just been bark huts, all through this forest. And it's not directly associated from what we can determine with mining. We're not finding mining picks and that sort of stuff, and there's no mines close by. There are some a couple of K away, but that wouldn't be where these people were working necessarily. But whatever the reason for this settlement, gold would have been the reason that people were here ultimately, because the gold rushes in Australia made the country, and it opened up all this country, and it generated all the wealth that sort of translated into modern Australia. 1851, early 1850s, gold down there about 300 miles south of here was where it was first discovered, and then the massive gold rushes through Victoria, New South Wales. And the thing about those gold rushes were that they were the Australian goldfields on the east coast at least were in very fertile farming country. So there's all sorts of supply industry comes up around the miners, and as everyone probably knows, the gold miners themselves weren't really the ones that got wealthy out of the gold rush. Some did. Most of it was the packers, the bullockies, the shopkeepers, and these towns, modern towns, sprung up around them, and farming and things like this, where people now had the independent wealth to travel and settle into more remote areas of the country, was directly the result of the gold rushes, even though this isn't necessarily a gold village. So the gold rushes made modern Australia. The amount of money that was generated was just astronomical for the 19th century. In the early 1850s, the average wage doubled in Australia. People became independently wealthy. They came from a background perhaps from Europe, particularly the UK, where you had to work very hard for very little. Out here, if you worked hard, you were rewarded pretty much, and people became independently wealthy. And they weren't part of an aristocracy. In fact, the Australian Constitution heavily resisted any suggestion of an aristocracy. That was never going to happen here. It was all about an egalitarian society, which exists today. It's great. And the wealth we've got now came from these gold rushes long ago, and I think that's why you get the settlement into these areas. Would have been nice to find out why they were here. I don't think they were timber cutters. They certainly weren't miners. And the little house areas we're finding tend to be on sort of 5 to 6 acre blocks. So we're thinking they're living in this forest. They've got a few animals, they need a bit of room. They're all sort of equidistant from each other. There's that hotel cellar we saw yesterday. That was a place of entertainment. Post office where we've found quite a few coins. We think that's the post office. But we haven't really unlocked the mystery of the Lost Valley, but it's just a brilliant place to metal detect. It's just, the history is fantastic. It's a really enjoyable day out. So we're going to have a bit of lunch and see if we can find some more relics.
This is the next find. It's a buckle. Not sure if it's what it's actually, whether it's a lady's buckle or what. Oh, it looks like it's got maybe some writing on there. Should clean up nicely though. We'll have a look and see if we can identify it further.
Well, I've just heard on the radio Colleen and Ross have made a sensational fight in an old fire pit up on the hill on the out behind me. I just came through here in this flannel bush, and there was one brick sticking out of the ground, a lot of iron. I think it may have been an old hut or house site. Dug a 63 down here with no confidence. Turns out it's a coin. So it's going to be a Britannia halfpenny with that low conductivity for a coin. Quite a little surprise, and it was fairly deep. Have a look at that. Okay, let's give it a clean and we'll get some information of this coin. Well, there she is with a quick bush clean. I can see it's 1881. Really good nick, lovely green patina. I'll get some nice still shots of all these finds and do a wrap up when we're finished here, but that coin will come up beautifully.
Another exciting find, a penny. It was quite close to the surface here, probably just in here, probably only 5 centimetres down. This is another little find, another boot heel. It's got the spike still in it. Okay, I'm just coming over here. Ross has found a fireplace and he's made, he's been digging plenty of nails, but he's made an amazing discovery. He's actually found something, not with a detector. Do you want to tell us all about this one, Ross?
Yeah, I thought we'd just dig out one of these fire pits. We're not really sure what they are for, whether it was a structure or not. I thought I'd dig one out to see if there's any interesting things in there, and that's what came out. Clay, it stemmed from a clay pipe, and
It's got the maker's name or something like
maker's,
that, some brand.
Well, maker's area I think they were, so cork.
That's
where
amazing.
it's from.
It's just beautiful, isn't it? Very fine and
No wind,
delicate.
but
Yeah, there's the hole.
fine hole.
Yeah.
Looks like a moulded one. Yeah.
Well, hopefully the
Amazing.
bowl's in there too.
I'll keep checking for the bowl.
We'll glue it back together. Oh, that's great, Ross. Really good.
Yeah.
Now you can actually look for the target you were looking for. Just sneaking back over to Ross because he thinks he may have found a little bit more of his clay pipe. So
I think that
oh, yes.
is part of the bowl. So I suppose if it broke, they threw all the pieces in and discussed.
Yeah, but if you manage to get it, you'll be able to...
So it goes some... Yeah, so it's got a curve that sort of way to it as well, so they sort of curved up like that on a funny angle, not like a pipe with a big bowl in the end like we think of.
It's a very old,
sort of up like that. Might even be longer, I'm not sure. So I think that's another piece of it. Definitely that white clay.
Certainly looks like that
white
clay, doesn't
ceramic,
it? Yes.
yeah. Well, clay, it's not quite ceramic.
Yeah.
No,
oh,
that's not a piece. There you go, live find. That's probably a piece of another one.
Yes.
This is the pipe.
This is it.
There we go.
Gee, right on the spot too.
Do they fit?
Oh, that's amazing. That's just fantastic.
Right there.
Oh, gee, Ross, well done. That's amazing.
That's fun. Well, I never expected to find that sort of thing here.
Oh, no, that's just such a personal item. That's beautiful. Love it.
The people digging in the Thames in the mud might not appreciate finding a single pipe, I'm sure.
Oh no, but that's up here. That is, oh yes. You'll have to somehow get it back together and display it. You might be able to actually date it.
A little stand. I'm not sure how the stands really work because there generally is only one like that. So.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure how that really works, but.
So how high would the stand be? Is it just?
Oh, it's just that. That's just.
okay.
They seem to always have a nub on there, as far as I've seen.
Just to keep it up off
and
the
seen
surface.
in videos and pictures, never personally. That's another one.
That might be another one. Gee, this might
be a
clay
piece of
pipe
that.
area. Yeah, it looks exactly the same thing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing.
Oh, I thought it was a long shot, but that was worthwhile.
That was worth it, yeah. Also in Ross's fire pit that he's been opening here, we found the actual top of a bottle. And you can see how it's shaped at the top here, and the glass cork, glass stopper would go in the top there. Nice and old. Good bit of history there. Oops, dropped it. That's lovely. This is the, what do you think it was made of, Ross? Just ceramic?
Well, I thought it was ceramic, but it's just chipped the edge off and it's gone iridescent blue.
Yeah, it's a pretty colour to it, isn't it? You just sort of...
So I don't know what that's made of at all.
Yeah, but it's definitely the top of a bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little mystery there. Great.
We realised this wasn't a round fire pit, it's rectangular, and there was a little bit of a high target over here on the metal detector, so we thought, well, just one more dig. And we came up with probably silver little ring with decorations on it all the way around. It may be a flat piece that's been rolled, because it's that sort of size. It's also the similar size as that pipe stem is, so
Quite possibly.
do they go together?
Yeah.
But I'd say that's silver.
Yeah, it certainly looks silver, doesn't it? And your ringtone was
And
nice
very
and
decorative.
decorative, yeah. And it's little sort of scalloped on the top end there.
Yeah.
Around, it's not a straight edge. It's
Yep,
yeah.
that side too.
Gee, this is getting better and better, Ross, isn't it? Yeah, great
And
finds.
we were just discussing the original comment about the original target. There wasn't really an original target other than there was things in here, so we had to look.
Yep.
So
You don't
the
look,
things
you don't
find,
know. Yeah. Great.